In the final mayoral debate of the New York City race featuring frontrunner Zohran Mamdani, former governor and independent candidate Andrew Cuomo, and Republican Curtis Sliwa, the tone was sharp, personal, and predictable in many respects. Sliwa is a distant third in the opinion polls, but he did have some sharp one-liners for his opponents. At one point in the debate, he told Mamdani that his entire resume could fit on a cocktail napkin. And he told Cuomo that his failures could fill a public school library in New York City. The two main contenders sparred over experience versus change, while underlying themes of national politics, identity, and federal-city relations loomed large. One of the most prominent themes was experience versus vision. Cuomo repeatedly attacked Mamdani's youth and perceived lack of executive experience, saying he had never held a real job and was untested for leading a city of 8 million. Mamdani countered by casting Cuomo as a power seeker whose time had passed, arguing he represented the future of the city rather than the political past. On the subject of public safety and policing, the candidates offered sharply contrasting visions. Mamdani outlined a proposal to create a new Department of Community Safety, focused on mental health and homelessness, so that police could focus on violent crime. Cuomo dismissed this as insufficient and proposed hiring 5,000 new police officers instead. Sliwa went further, seeking 7,000 new officers and denouncing Mamdani's reforms as unrealistic. The debate was about the post of New York's next mayor, but Donald Trump became a topic of discussion, pretty much on expected lines, especially as the debate came soon after immigration raids in Manhattan's Chinatown.
My adversaries have decided to bump chests with President Trump to prove who's more macho. You can't beat Trump. He holds most of the cards. He's already cut federal funding for Medicaid, for the SNAP program, and it's threatened to cut funds for NYCHA. So if you're all of a sudden going to get adversarial, you're going to lose. And who gets hurt? The people of New York City.
You're going to have to confront President Trump. He is hyper-aggressive, and he is going to overstep his bounds. And you are going to have to confront him. And you can beat him. I confronted him, and I have beaten him. He was going to quarantine New York during COVID, and I stopped him. He was going to cut aid to federal programs, and I stopped him.
Look, Donald Trump ran on 3 promises. He ran on creating the single largest deportation force in American history. He ran on going after his political enemies, and he ran on lowering the cost of living. If he wants to talk to me about the 3rd piece of that agenda, I will always be ready and willing. But if he wants to talk about how to pursue the 1st and 2nd piece of that agenda at the expense of New Yorkers, I will fight him every single step of the way.
Trump has pledged to send in the National Guard to New York and cut federal funding if Mamdani wins. Cuomo has said a win for Mamdani would be a major pain point for New Yorkers because of Trump's very clear anti-Mamdani stance. Cuomo said that Trump would take over New York if Mamdani wins because he's a kid, and President Trump will also play the role of Mayor Trump for New York City. Trump has talked about Mamdani often, saying he will have to rethink sending federal money to New York if Zohran Mamdani wins.
He's a communist. He's not a socialist, by the way. There's a big difference. He's a communist. He's down and dirty. He's a communist. He hates police. He wants to get rid of all police. I mean, how can a policeman? He hates Jewish people, and yet he's got Jewish people supporting him. He hates Jewish people. So it comes through the White House. The funding for New York and for every place comes through the White House. And I'm very generous, and I was always very generous with New York, even when you had opposition there, but I was always very generous. But I wouldn't be generous to a communist, a guy that's going to take the money and throw it out the window.
Opinion polls have placed Mamdani well ahead of Cuomo in the race for the NYC mayor. For more such stories, subscribe to SNG News, hit the like button and follow for more news updates.